Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out for our Monday, February 13th, 2023 regular board meeting. Meeting is called to order at 6:01. Can I please have roll call, Madam Secretary?
Davis,
Here.
Piles present, Laster,
Present.
McCarthy,
Present.
Evans,
Excused.
Bernard,
Excused.
Wester.
Present.
We have a quorum.
We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Next on our agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. I move that the Board of Education accept the meeting agenda as presented.
Support,
Roll call vote.
Wester,
Yes.
Piles, yes. Laster,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see a full house. Like, woo. Before we move on to our public comment, I personally would like to say welcome back to our superintendent, Dr. Benjamin Edmondson. Thank you. Thank you all so much. I just want to say, like, you've been hearing me say it for the past 16 months, ready to move our district forward. And I think I said that at our last meeting. We are going to work to move our district forward. I am committed to moving our district forward. And I don't believe it's new. Everyone knows, where I've been since day one. I've always been here for the kids. It is for the kids in the community. So it's overwhelming to see everyone here tonight as we move, as our first official meeting, moving our district in the right direction. So I just want to thank you all, thank my board members, my fellow board members for being here tonight. We have 2 that are out due to illnesses, but I am dedicated and motivated to always work as a team to move our district and work together. And that's what we're here for, to get our district moving. Next on our agenda is public comment. Guidelines for our public comment and audience participation. The Board of Education welcomes audience participation at its meeting. These guidelines, which are based on the Board of Education bylaws and policies, are intended to facilitate the orderly conduct of the public comment portion of our meetings. The district encourages parents, students, and others to resolve issues at the building level whenever possible with the teacher and building principal or assistant principal. Issues not resolved at the building level may be addressed to the appropriate central office administration when necessary. The board discourages parents and students and others from addressing the board on issues that have not been processed in the fashion, and in such cases, the district will address persons and have them be removed if they do not follow directions. Persons wishing to address the Board of Education must complete a public comment form. Do we have all our forms up here? So moving forward, Madam Secretary, our first speaker.
Tanya Gregory.
Mike.
Good evening. Tanya Gregory, 30418 Dorset Street. First, I would like to welcome Dr. Edmondson back. I'm truly excited to see what the future holds with you as our leader. I'm saddened that I missed the last special meeting when this was announced because it should have been celebrated. I would like to thank all of the board members that showed up and voted to right a wrong for our children, staff, and our community. So thank you. I'm so thankful that Dr. Edmondson agreed to return. While a wrong was righted, this is just the beginning. The community needs to continue to show up and support Dr. Edmondson. He has a huge hurdle of mismanagement, a great loss of staff that he is undertaking. Please continue to support him while he builds this district from the ground up and makes our district a destination district. Thank you.
Rita Hampton.
All I have to say, it's about damn time.
Ms. Hampton,
got to
Ms.
say.
Hampton, the microphone, and watch our tone now. We got our kids watching.
I know we do. They know about Lizzo. I don't come here to expect an apology from the board that did the deed. I don't expect it. You know, when you do bad, you got to stand up and look. And I say to the president of the school board, Ursula Western, you gotta have atonement. You gotta admit what you did for no reason. I asked for 17 months, didn't miss a meeting. Where is Dr. Ben and why isn't he here? Never got an answer. I think it's a dastardly thing that you would ruin a man's reputation in his career. You have no credibility, Debbie Piles. Neither do your cohorts, Sue Evans or Miss Kennard or Nicole German. I don't even know why she is still sitting here being accused of embezzlement and other dastardly things. But Dr. Ben was walked out of here. He walked out of here for no reason. So for every time you stand up, so I can remind the Romulus community, I'm gonna stand up and turn my back. Can't take a knee because I won't be able to get back up. But I'm turning my back because all you'll hear is lies. And that's all that was here. I'll apologize for what was done to you. You lost your career. You lost your name, your reputation. It injured your family, your wife, your 2 sons, for God's sakes. Last year at this time, we were talking about be kind because it's Valentine's Day. Do you love your kids? Dr. Ben loves his. All right. I'll never forget this. This is horrific. And you get away with it and you walk in every day like you didn't do nothing. That won't last long. When I don't want to hear these Shakespearean oratories, the questions you ask like you know something about education, because you don't. I got 30 years to say you don't. You think you do. You don't fool me, you may fool others. One last thing. Dr. Edmondson, be careful. There's Weatherspoon minions about. They're here. They're here in this room. I know who they are. And they will be here, and they will be doing things. Put your head on a spindle and watch your back. But I'll be watching for you. This will never happen again on my watch. I love education. And you didn't just do it to him, you did it to the children of Romulus Community Schools.
Sarah Carter.
Good evening, Board. Sarah Carter, REA President. Great things cannot be achieved unless we are working together. Students, teachers, ancillary staff, bus drivers, principals, and even central office will not be able to achieve their goals without creating a culture of collaboration, unity, and teamwork. I applaud and thank Ms. Laster, Mrs. McCarthy, Mr. Davis, and Ms. Wester for taking the necessary first steps to getting us back on track to moving the district forward again. We look forward to working together to reverse the damage that was done and are committed to making Romulus Community Schools a destination district. Thank you.
Dave Pelk.
Hello. So this was a very last minute decision to speak tonight. My name is David Pelk, long-term teacher turned reading interventionist, reading coach. First, I want to thank all of the new board members for taking on this new role. Thank you. I also want to thank those of you sticking with it and staying strong. You all come at a detrimental time to restore this district and restore the hope of so many teachers and community members. I wish I could come in front of you and tell you we're all okay, we're ready to move forward, but it's not that easy. Our district is like a very unstable and damaged tightrope. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. We're all positive, we're all up for a challenge to cross it. We want to get to the other side. We want to feel like we've accomplished something great. We want to look back and say to ourselves, that was a close one, but we made it. We want to feel that support and motivation to try other challenging things. But our tightrope is damaged, and it could break at any moment. All of us, we're trying to get to the safest place possible, even though it feels like we're slipping all the time. The ups and the downs of our leadership, the lack of strong systems in place to help us, the constant new roles created or hired have impacted what we're able to do within our schools. So many of you might be asking this question, why are teachers continuing to come work here? Well, we have a lot of teachers in the crowd. Let's ask them, why do you come work here? It's easy. I didn't know they were going to answer. It's the same reason. You guys say it. Every teacher I've asked, why do you come? It's the kids. If it wasn't the kids, the district wouldn't have enough teachers. That's a pretty serious problem for a district to have, right? It's kind of important. So here's what I'm asking. This is a time where everyone is feeling very hopeful with our new leader, Dr. Edmondson. Thank you so much for coming back. This may be a different idea, but maybe let's look at the talent and the dedication from within our district and use them rather than contracting other people who don't know our kids, they don't know our community. Don't just talk to the loudest people, talk to the quiet ones too. Talk to the principals. Look at them, look at some scores and talk to those teachers and find out what they did. Instead of just telling the teachers how much, it's almost done. Instead of just telling the teachers how much you appreciate them, bring them along. Let's all come together, put changes in place. I think we can do it if we get the right people and we have everyone working together. You could actually flip this district and turn things around. If we keep on doing the same things, we're all just going to stay in this flatline area. And I've been in this area too long. I don't think I can make it across that tightrope much longer. So my questions are, will you support us? Will you seek out the people who want to see Romulus become great?
Elise Martin.
I just had a quick thing I wanted to say right quick. First of all, thank you so much.
Got to talk in the mic.
Thank you so much for coming back, Dr. B, because when you were here, you made us all feel like family. So with that being said, let me read my little speech. So we all know that Dr. Edmondson was treated unfairly and unjustly let go, but there's nothing we can do about the past. With that being said, I am very proud of all of us, the community, the parents, the students, the staff, the teachers, and the board members that had the courage and the insight to bring him back and therefore let him continue his quest to make the Romulus School District the destination station. He started before all this mess. We need to stop focusing on past issues and place the focus on what is best for the students of this district and make our schools, our teachers, staff, and community whole again. He was able to bring the district and community together, and I personally am looking forward to that once more, making this district have a family atmosphere where we're not afraid to speak our minds no matter who we are and what department we work for. He listens and he gets results. Going forward, let's give him the support he needs to accomplish the ultimate goal, support for our students and unity among us all. While we may not all agree on everything, I hope that we recognize that when we choose to be divided instead of together, our children, our schools, our community, as well as our reputation of being a great school suffers. If we can practice the wisdom to work together, our children, our families, our communities, all will thrive.
Mr. Hanson.
Good evening. Madam President, I may need a couple extra minutes. I tend to be long-winded.
Okay.
I am Mike Hanson. I'm the Secretary-Treasurer of the Romulus Education Association. I have been flying high in this district for the past 24 years. Today, I want to speak to you about the snakes and the noise. But first, I want to welcome Dr. Edmondson back. The Romulus Education Association looks forward to working with you as well to bring the district back to our destination district. The battle for your return was long and hard. Many of us still suffer from PTSD and have suffered under the brutality of our emergency manager. We welcome you back with open arms as you begin to spread your wings and soar. Second, I would like to thank you, President Wester, for taking the courage, taking charge, and bringing some order back to the district. You listened to the needs of your employees and responded. I know the journey was not easy for you, but believe me, we thank you. To my alumni newbies, I'm going to go a little off script. You guys are still our children. You'll be our board, but you're still in our hearts, our children. And when people threaten you and harass you, that affects us too, and we will support you. I won't continue with my thought. Newbies, thank you for stepping up and running to take on these difficult tasks. There was a huge mess created by the Gang of Four, and you have responded in the past 3 meetings to begin to clean up that mess. The members of Romulus Education Association appreciate your time and effort you put forth to try and right the wrong that was done to this district. I know already you have encountered unneeded pressure and stresses. Please just know that it's not gone unnoticed. Tonight I want to talk to you about snakes and noises. Such an unusual topic choice, but it is a discussion that is needed. Many times on Facebook, I get kind of stuck in that vicious video cycle. One of the videos that pops up is of the king cobra and the python. And they are both apex predators, top of their line. And oftentimes they intertwine, they interact, they fight. And what happens is these snakes end up dying, both of them. One strangles the other, the other one poisons the other, and they end up dying. You see, both are powerful, but they both end up losing their lives. Right now, we have a major infestation of snakes in this district. Some sit alongside you. The Gang of Four, now the three, have shown that they have begun to turn their venom on each other. Then there's a couple snakes that were elected to Romulus City Council. One such snake has been terrorizing this district for about a decade, spreading her venom throughout, and has done nothing to help the district but support the three that were elected to this body. Amen. We had another snake that still has his reach here, even though he has been thrown out of the nest a few months ago. People still call him, using his advice to spread his venom. They have implanted at these snakes have been implanted in our schools, in central office. They were hired by that corrupt leader. The duty of each snake is to create chaos and noise, and as noisy as possible, create benefits for their friends and family. Money has been thrown out, millions of dollars, I'm sure, when we look back. Today, I can say we now have a superintendent and an elected board that will fly high to help us eliminate the threat to our district. Dr. Edmondson, I cannot wait for you to find your winged strength and are able to eliminate all the snakes that infect us. Dr. Edmondson, it is an honor to fly high with you as we start this new venture. Thank you very much.
Carol Bales.
Good evening. Dan's going to pass something to you. And if I could just complete this, I would like to complete what I'm saying, if I could, please. First of all, welcome back, Dr. Edmondson. You know, at one time, Romulus was renowned as Paris, and all of you know we were renowned, and we can do that again. First, I would like to extend a thank you to Shelby Frere, who met with Dan and I last week. She is a true professional, very knowledgeable, very informative, transparent, and addressed and answered all of our questions concerning finance. This is the first time we have been able to do that since Dr. Edmondson left. Dr. Weatherspoon would not allow us to meet with the finance director. I recently received a FOIA information, which I am sharing with you tonight. However, all of my documentation is not attached, but I have it. I requested it from the district and was disheartened in the information received. As taxpayers, we deserve more. You had 9, I repeat, 9 attorneys working for this district last year. We paid them $656,000, $124.27. This is totally out of line. And action should be immediately taken to correct these outlandish expenditures. And future contacts to lawyers should go through the superintendent, not from board members, unless otherwise directed by our superintendent. One law firm alone received $305,000 for a lawsuit that was allegedly instituted by district and then acting Superintendent Weatherspoon. And the district ended up paying over $1 million that was owed to that company to begin with. With regard to board compensation, your policy currently reads as follows. Board members will be paid the sum of $50 for attendance at each meeting of the board, including meetings of any board created to which the board member has been appointed. as well as other events related to board service. Total compensation for the board, including the maximum amounts to be paid to individual board members, shall be set annually by the board. This policy has not been followed by the board, and no cap has been made on annual compensation. Therefore, several members have received excessive compensation, and I have the documentation, as well as large reimbursements from information I received from FOIA. No board member should be compensated $50 for going to the Pumpkin Festival, athletic events, school and community events, telephone calls, or dinner with Dr. Weatherspoon, which are optional. Several board members were compensated $50 each for a class taken in one day. There has been too much reckless and random spending by our several board members in the past year alone, totaling nearly $13,000 each. Events that are optional should not be compensated. I ask that you set annual compensation, revise policy, and clarify language, as well as other events related to board service. I also ask that you set limits on conference and expenses to the board in your annual budget and establish guidelines for expenditures. Stipends to staff totaled $139,712.23 in addition to salaries. Did board approve these expenditures? What benefits were received by the district? The students, staff, and community deserve better. These expenditures must stop. It's time to be more responsible, transparent, and to move the district in a positive direction. As once was said by one of our board members who I love dearly, Paris McCarthy, and I have a hard time not crying, eagles soar, and we can soar higher and higher. And I thank you for your time. And I'm sorry I had to come. Very sorry I had to do that.
I just want to thank everyone for their comments. Was there anyone else? I'm going to give a chance if anyone came in late and wanted to fill out a form. Yes. Can someone pass a form up front, please, for this gentleman? You can come up and speak and just give us your name. Write the name on it.
Good afternoon, well, good evening, everyone. My name is Pastor Paul Futch, pastor of True Love Christian Fellowship International. I'm standing up here, first of all, as a parent of a former student of Romulus High School. And I'm also standing here as one that supports and will continue to support the Romulus School District. Thank you. First of all, I want to say this. Welcome back, Dr. Edmondson. It means a lot to me because it takes me back when he first came on board. I was pastoring a previous church, and I kind of went through the same thing that he did. But anyway, what made me love him so much and respect him, he reached out to all of the pastors, and he contacted me and said, I would like to meet with you because I'm a superintendent that believes in bringing community together. And it kind of startled me. I'm not used to that. I'm like, wow, the superintendent reached out to me to, around the school district to meet with me just on the dime like that. And he came and met and sat and shared, and you could just sense the passion that he had for the district without even really knowing him. You could just sense the love that he has for children and wanting to see children progress. And he just began just sharing with me his vision and was like, hey, I need you to be a part of this because it takes a community to raise a child. And I came from that. I was raised that way. It takes a community. And so I want to say to all of us, and I don't want to talk long because I don't want to start crying either. But I have.
Pass the collection plate for me tonight. You can't pass the collection plate.
I want to say to not only to Dr. Edmondson, but to this school board, that I can sense a new energy, a renewed energy, and I can see that Romulus is moving forward. And I'm going to share this with you, and I'm going to sit down. I used to share this with my congregation all the time. This train is moving. And one thing you know about a train does not stop. The only time that a train will stop and back up is so that it can get back on track again. But I can sense tonight that this train is getting ready to move. So you're either going to get on board or get off. And please don't stand in front of the train because you might get ran over. God bless you. So glad to have you back, Dr. Edmondson and this school board. You got my support forever.
Thank you. If you can just complete the top of the form and turn it in. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is our consent agenda. Matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the report of the superintendent portion of the agenda. A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Education, January 23rd regular meeting, the January 23rd closed session, January 30th special meeting, and January 30th closed session. B is approval of bills for payment as submitted by Business Manager Sarah Khan in the amount of $2,735,251.95. Approval of the personnel actions as submitted by the Human Resource Director, Director Dan Scott. Where did the doctor from? Retirement of Kelly Kerbani, teacher at Romulus Middle School, effective February 3rd. Sharon Neiman, teacher at GSRP, effective 1/27. Employment of Tracy Boatman, social worker at Romulus High School, effective February 13th, 2023. And Levantis Guest, associate teacher at GSRP, effective September. Should we start, that's today? Okay. February 13th, 2023. Move that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda as presented. Motion by Wester, supported by Piles. Roll call vote.
Wester,
Yes.
Piles, yes. Davis,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
motion carries.
Next on the agenda, report of the superintendent.
First of all, I apologize for the emotion I may express. So, I have not grieved until tonight. So many of you fought for me, for the kids, for the district. I'm not interested in rehashing the pain. My family suffered, and we're healing. That's it for that. I'm done. I don't know where to begin, but to say thank you. It was the hardest 16 months of my life. I would never wish that on anyone. But I've seen the worst of humanity, and I've seen the best of humanity. I want to thank everybody that came on out. You kept doing it for 16 months. All these dates I remember: September 27th, walked out. December 29th, fired. December 31st, insurance cut off. And now I'm back. And I'm back because of you, not me. It wasn't me. It's God, really. I'm not going to have that conversation in front of everybody, but it's personal. But I thank you all because this would have never happened. It just would have never happened. It's so humbling. I've always said, when I experience things with God, I don't ever say, why me? Because if you say, why me, that means it should happen to somebody else. It should be, why not me? And I've asked over and over, I keep saying, like, why not me? Help me understand. And when things got really bad here, I kept saying, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And then I got fired. And I kept asking God, like, how can other people prosper? And this happened to me. And he told me they're not. They're not prospering. Not at all. So it's really humbling. I've learned so much. I've learned who my real friends are. I've learned people that really support me. And I don't think it's about supporting me. I'm hoping that it's about what I was able to do in the district. My buddy told me, hey, don't talk about you. But I just at least wanted to share that. I have no malice. I have no ill will for anyone. Anyone. There's no need. Okay? Things happen, you just move on. Okay? You move on. That's it. I've moved on, and our community has to move on. I don't want to see another board meeting where we're pointing fingers at people because it's hard. They're human too. Okay? And sometimes people think they're doing the right thing, and that's what they think, and that's what they lead on. May not agree with you, may not agree with me. I think there's a level of civility that we need to have here. Okay, I tried not to watch board meetings. They were too hard for me, first of all. But people would let me know what's going on. And I'm like, we can't do that to our district. And I love this place. I've only been here, I've been gone longer than I was here. I mean, that's crazy. I was gone longer than I was here, and people still fought. The clown show has to stop, and I hate to say it like this, but I'm going to tell you what I've told everybody the last 2 weeks. The worst that they can do to me was done to me. I got fired. So I know what that's like, and I don't worry about it ever again, because I'm not. I'm going to continue to lead with integrity. I promise you, the new board members, that I will be truthful and transparent in everything, because I believe truth and transparency gets trust. People trust you if they know that what you say is truthful and it's transparent. As I've heard Mike Hansen and Sarah Carter say, and I called them on it, they said, we may not always agree with him, but we always know that he's going to communicate and be honest. Then I had to call one of them and say, wait a second, what do you mean we don't agree? Because we're one Romulus, and I want everybody to know when I lead, that's it. We're one Romulus. It's not teachers versus administration against the board against paying people well or letting them do their jobs. It's not. We're one Romulus, and we rise and fall together. We've fallen, and now we have a great opportunity, as I told the middle school staff, to change the narrative. Don't let that scare you. We should be excited to be able to change the narrative, that it rests with all of us and our abilities to work together. Because we know what happens, as I said to this one was the bus drivers, maybe. I met with the bus drivers, I've met with the secretaries already, and I talked about the chain on a bike. When all the chain links are working together, what happens with the bike? We all know, right? Moves forward. You're getting great progress. But don't let one chink come off of that chain. Because when one chink, that's all it takes, one chink to fall off, and guess what? The bike just spins. Your chain is your gears or whatever it is, sprocket, I don't know. Clearly I need CTE. You stay in place. It's sort of like treading water. You're not going anywhere. So I'm interested in healing the district. I want to be someone that helps heal this district, that comes together, and we put that chain link in, and we can all work together. This is not about me. I know I'm a strong personality. I understand that. What did you want, somebody that wasn't? Okay. I'm a strong personality, but I'm truthful, and I'm transparent, and I promise that I will continue to deliver on that. So moving right along, people want to know why I didn't live stream. I didn't have us live stream because I can't have that anymore until this changes. And I begged the president, and she stood with me. I said, we've got to change. You can't put that out there over and over and over. When I talk to colleagues, and they're like, oh, you're back at Romulus, huh? I mean, like a little giggle. Okay, it's not funny. We have kids here. Okay, messed around, as far as I'm concerned, you kind of mess around with kids because adults are the ones that disappoint kids. Kids don't disappoint kids, it's the adults that disappoint them. So let's show them. Let's be good models for them. Let's show them what happens when you have a broken spirit and what can happen when we work together. So I am committed, and I just wrote one thing down. I am committed that every employee will be valued in this district, period. Every one of you will be valued, period. Now, that's it for me. Just kidding. I'm back. So no more crying. You know, I haven't cried since the last time I was at a board meeting in Ypsilanti when I was leaving, and you remember, Paula, he cried. Well, I cried. The kid came up and begged me not to leave the district, and he cried. No, I cried. He didn't cry. I cried. Jeremiah Wade. Jeremiah Wade. I remember that. So it's something about this chair that does it to me, because that was the last time. So let me just talk real fast. Sorry about this. I'll get to all that stuff. But ethos, the characteristic spirit of a culture. The ethos of our culture will be the relentless pursuit of excellence achieved through collaboration. Collaboration requires transparent, constructive communication. This communication begins internally, staff, board, REA, and extends, Local 64, Local 34, let me throw everybody in there, and extends to students, parents, community, and business stakeholders, and the public at large. This process requires us to review, and in some case, reimagine our language and lexicon. One such example is how we speak about and address challenges as opposed to problems. I see every existing challenge as an opportunity to grow and improve. One challenge that is far too prevalent throughout school districts nationwide is the tendency to demonstrate concern for students on or leading up to count day only. The reasons for this phenomenon are obvious. RCS will be a district that truly demonstrates concern for the well-being, aspirations, and successes of its students and families all day, every day. Toward that end, I offer a brief poetic reminder. Count day is every day. Our effort counts. Our engagement counts. Our energy, empathy, and encouragement count every single day. Continuing, I believe our collective success will be driven by the 3 E's. Okay, they're not board approved, they're been approved. Engagement. We must engage daily with each other, our students, our families, and the community. Only through true engagement can we begin to understand the needs of this proud city. I perceive this district and this community as inseparable. One is dependent upon the other. Evaluation. We must consistently and constructively evaluate our efforts and the results they produce. This means so much more than critiquing, or worse, criticizing one another privately and or publicly. It means working with to strengthen each other while constantly improving the services we provide. And the last is E, economics. We must discuss economics. It would be to the detriment of the families we serve not to do so. Economics impact every aspect of our collective lives and the services we provide every single day. We must discuss and employ economic practices that best serve Romulus Community Schools, as well as Romulus residents in complete transparent fashion. Nevertheless, we cannot reduce our precious young people to data points and statistics. The economic support we seek will be a direct byproduct of the value we add day in and day out. That's all I can give for those things. Again, I appreciate everybody. I'll get to this stuff now, but again, I thank you. This was very emotional. It's been a very emotional week. I wake up every day at 4 in the morning now, and I can't go back to sleep. But that's what I did when I first started. Eventually, it'll go away. But again, I want to thank, this is a new board, okay? It's not the old board, okay? It's not that I'm not working with that board. I'm working with a new board. I'm very excited at the opportunity to work with all of you and be a collective team with our families, students, and staff of Romulus. Thank you. All right, just for your information, branding, I sent out an email. I think most everybody in this room probably got it. If you didn't, just let us know and we'll make you part of our email list, okay, just so that you know. You have to ask, what is our brand? If we went around, let's just say we went around Southeast Michigan and asked people, what's the brand of Romulus? I wonder how they would answer. I wonder how our staff would answer at this point. What's the brand? Well, we're going to have to work collectively to find our brand. And when you brand, everything looks the same. You don't have a bunch of different emails looking crazy, different fonts looking crazy, all of that matters. How we answer our families, how we treat each other, that's your brand. And I would have to ask you, what is the Romulus brand? Okay, I don't know. Actually, I do. I'm just not going to say. But we have to work really hard to change the brand, and I'm committed to do that. I am working with somebody right now who is going to help us kind of carve the narrative. You know, he reads my emails to make sure that my emails have the right tone and try not to upset anyone. And he has met with a number of people in the community just to talk. And it was this gentleman that told me about the great pride in our alumni, the alumni. People want Romulus to be what it once was, 20 and 30 years. It's consistent. When you talk to people that live here, they continue to say that same thing. You know why? Because they understood the brand back then. But that brand is not the same. So you have people grieving the brand. They want Romulus from 20 and 30 years ago when we were riding high. And that's fair. Okay, people know what we could be, so let's give it to them. Hold me accountable. I expect to be held accountable. And you know, I like that. Okay, if I fail, I'm all right with that. Okay, but I can promise you all that our staff will work their hardest for kids. And if they don't want to, they need to go somewhere else. I'm that direct. They need to go somewhere else if they're not going to put our kids first, period. So I promise to work on the brand. I'll keep sending you things out. We're going to try to have a strategic plan. We need a strategic plan. And the strategic plan, as I put in the letter, but those who didn't get it, I'll try to tweak it real fast. But it's, you know, we need a strategic plan that's going to help us for the next 3 to 5 years. It foolproofs against different leadership changes. When you have 3 to 5 years and we all know what the plan is, if I leave after year 1, everybody still knows the plan. This is what we're doing. Your plan doesn't change midway and you change the curriculum right in the middle. Okay, I'm just saying these are things when your brand is right and you're consistent and you have a strategic plan, you know where you're going. And that's nobody's fault here that we didn't know where we're going. But it'll be my fault from now on if we don't know where we're going. So I'm going to need your help to help build that strategic plan that we work together. We need everybody in the community. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to do it, but we have to have representation so that we get a plan. Our kids deserve that and our community serves that. So I'll be working on the branding efforts. I'm going to work with the staff about making things look consistent in terms of our emails, how we, you know, what we put on our email signatures and things like that. That's your brand. You can't have different Romulus T-shirts going out. That's your brand. Nike doesn't do that. Their brand is still the same no matter what. So our brand needs to be the same, and that's something that we're going to be working on. Now let me get to better things. Mr. Keski, I want to thank you. I was at the basketball game on Friday, February 3rd, I believe, and we had a signing day. I was very excited. I haven't seen one. I've been out the game for 16 months, but I appreciate your efforts in making certain that our kids got an opportunity in front of the community to say where they were going, and now I need to pull this out because I didn't memorize everybody's name, and I've gotten older, so I need these. I changed it from 2.0 to 2.5. So we have Shannon Brown, who's going to Heidelberg University, and these are football players, not basketball players. These are football players. Justin Davis is going to Trine University, and Andre Grissom is going to Alma College. So that's 3. That's a good start. And when we talk about branding, we have to do everything that we can to let the community know the things that we're doing, because somebody else is going to tell our story. Somebody else will tell our story if we allow them to. So we have to take control of that. So when I start on a soup scoop, I'm going to ask that our staff members send me good things to send out to the community. People like hearing about their kids. I love when I hear about my kids doing great things. I tend to support the school district more when we get those things. So as board members, I'd like you to please send me things that you're doing or that we're doing, or if you have an accolade or kudos for somebody, give it to us, okay? Nobody should speak for Romulus but us, frankly, nobody. But we're letting everybody speak for us. Our numbers demonstrate that. When I said that we have 2,200 kids that are choicing out of our district. Do the math at $10,000 a pop. That's $22 million we're letting get out the door. And it's not just about money. it's 2,200 kids that we could have here, and we could educate them and push them out into the world and be contributors and come back like the 3 that we have here who are happy to serve on this board because they love their school district. Another good thing, wrestling. It's the second time that we've been district champs. Now, one of the things I always say is when I used to choose what sport I'd like to go watch as an administrator, it was never wrestling. Too long, too boring. That's how I used to think. But look at this, we have district champs. And I bet maybe one of us or 2 of us, beside the athletic director, may have seen the wrestling team. I would guess that. But these folks, these gentlemen, looks like all gentlemen from here, but if they're not, I apologize. But they need our support too. They're going against Dundee, which is the #1 in the state of Michigan. I happen to live there, and kids come in there when they are 3 and 4 years old, they move into Dundee to wrestle. When they don't win the state championship, it's a loss to Dundee. So our boys have a massive, massive task in front of them. But all we need to do is just send them an email. You can get it. We can get it for you. Send them an email, okay? If a text, if you know them, just let's encourage those. Let's encourage the gentlemen. And if you can make it, do the same thing. So if we could just have a round of applause, because we're going to put that out there for them, that we support them. Now, just as important, we're having ALICE training. I can't remember the acronym right now, but ALICE training next week. I believe that our high schools and middle schools have already had their ALICE training. ALICE training is really about how to deal with, what do you call those? Intruders, I guess, that come into schools, and making certain that your district knows what to do. So this, the next Wednesday, I think it's, no, this Wednesday? This Wednesday? I think it's this Wednesday. It is. Next Wednesday? Okay. Next Wednesday, we're going to have ALICE training at the elementary school. If you haven't had it, I'll tell you, it's frightening. It's very frightening. It's very emotional, okay? They're going to put you in some scenarios that are very real now. Okay, 10 years ago, they weren't so real. There was an outlier, but it's not an outlier anymore. So we need to make certain that we take those seriously, okay? And that you don't call off because it's a professional development day, because sometimes people do that. They think it's a free day. It's not a free day. Okay, we need to make certain that we know how to respond when there is an intruder. Okay, so I just ask everybody that if, we all have friends in the teaching ranks that are in this district, try to encourage them to make sure that they're here for that day, because that's very important. And we want to make sure that not only do we save kids' lives, but we save each other's lives. So that's next week. I think that's it. I've had enough emotion there. Again, I thank you all so much. I'm so humbled for everything that you've done. Mike Hansen, Rita Hampton, Bales, Sarah Carter, Kylene, people that I can think of. Where is she? Tanya Gregory, again, Denisa Terrell, I see her back there. These people, Paul Futch, just people that, and it's not about me. Sandy Tenney sending me funny texts that were good for my spirit, but she sent them. Maturin, same thing, sending a text or an email every now and then. Joe and Lydia, there's so many people I hope that I didn't miss. I'm looking around that I know consistently were here. Bill, I'm sorry for everything that, I jumped on Bill when I got back. I had to share the hurt that I had with some people that were my friends. And, our friendship was really tested, Paula included. Paula was like, I was just like my sister. And I shared with her my hurt. I shared with Bill my hurt because I love you guys. There's no other reason. I love you and you need to know. When I feel hurt, I need to share that with you. So, I thank you so much, and everybody else that might be able to see this. And I will say something to, I just want to say, because he's back there. But I was at an event with the senior pinning, and I'm walking out. It felt so awkward for me to walk out. But Paul Piles came up to me, and he put his hand out to me, and he said, "Good to see you, Dr. Edmondson." And I said to Paul, "Thanks." And I mean that, Paul. Joe, what? Jeff. I called him, Paul. Sorry, Futch. Looking at Futch. Paul, Jeff's looking at me like I'm crazy. Thank you, Debbie. Paul, I'm Benjamin Paul, sorry. But Jeff, I wanted to say thank you. I thought that really took a lot to do that, considering everything that's been going on. And I really left there, and I told my wife that you put your hand out for me, and that was important for me. And I shook his hand back, and he said, "It's good to see you." And I said, "It's good to see you too, Paul." And I thank you for that. Jeff.
Is that his middle name? You got a
I'm
new
sorry,
name.
Paul. I'm sorry. But Jeff, I mean that. So I just wanted to share that with you. You've been through a lot too. And I just want to tell you I respect you. So thank you. And lastly, Tammy Garrison came in here too, and she's been very supportive as well. So thank you, everybody. I'm done.
And next on our agenda is the report of the Director of Human Resources, Mr. Scott.
I should have said you. I'm sorry. You know
It is just an FYI for you in there pertaining to, I started looking closer at the individuals and their jobs. And so it turns out that the coordinator of adult education is also a member of RAZA. And I wanted to correct to make sure that that was a RAZA contract that she had. So that's what you have in your board packet. Okay?
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have the report from Director of Curriculum and Instruction, which will be done by Dr. Edmondson.
Me again. Gonna get tired of me after week 2. I promise you, you're gonna get tired of me. Dr. Bloodsaw is out, so I'm just gonna briefly say it's an action item, but it's amended schools of choice form. We made some changes because we made school of choice really K-9, because it truly impacts our district when we allow kids to school the choice in, and then they never graduate, okay? It hurts us, so we're like, the dilemma is, well, do you take the money? Most schools are like, let's take the money. Well, there's an impact when you take the money and then the kids can't graduate, then you're on the partnership plan, or the partnership program. So we're trying to make a little shift here in how we do things to make certain that, we're going to, one, I believe we're extending the time. I think we're extending, Paula, was that it? Extending the date? I thought that was it, that we changed the date.
We changed the second semester. We're not going to
Right.
accept schools of choice second semester. First semester is a change in the grade level. We will
Thank
accept
you.
students grade K through 9.
Okay. Okay, well, we got it. We're good then, so appreciate it. We're good.
Would someone like to read the motion, please?
Move that the Board of Education approve the amended February 13th, 2023 Schools of Choice form for participation in the 23-24 school year, which includes the first semester application dates April 3rd through September 29th, 2023 with waiver, grades K through 9, and second semester or second trimester, no participation in schools of choice. And the rationale is just as Dr. Edmondson stated.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Pyle, supported by Davis. Any discussion?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Next on the agenda is report of the Director of Special Services, Dr. Patrick Neese. It was just Mr. Dan Scott.
We, as you know, we have had difficulty in filling particularly special ed positions, and therefore, because we are required by the state law and federal government to provide services to our special ed students, we had developed LOUs with the union to be able to go to third-party contractors to fill some of those positions. And this is another one of those positions. It's for a resource room teacher. Any questions?
Thank you. Next is the report of the Director for Community Outreach and Special Programs, Dr. Gardner.
All right, so you have in front of you the copy of the presentation about Kindergarten Roundup. I'm excited to give you all an update. I've been working hard with collaboration with our elementary principals, also the Meta 24 staff, Dr. Bledsaw, also our RECC leadership. So it's definitely been a collaboration. So basically, what has been decided is that the Kindergarten Roundup would take place on March 1st, 2023. From 10 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. We do have some more elementary schools that will have later times as well for families that work later. Each school will have a 45-minute presentation that would take place during the Kindergarten Roundup. That's going to be engaging and also exciting for the families. Each principal will send their agenda to me so we can have a crystal clear understanding of what's going to take place at each of our schools. So we want to make sure it was also attractive to our families. So we're going to have swag bags, which will be created by our MetaLab staff and students, and also T-shirts that have the class of 2036 on it for our kindergartners. It's going to be cute. And so in the swag bag, some requests were school supplies. There's a cute book called The Night Before Kindergarten, and other supplies to get our students ready for the first day of kindergarten. So those are the things that were asked for. In the notes sent to you previously, it stated it was pending funding. We actually have the funding now, and we have things already in place getting made for the swag bags and the T-shirts. So I'm very excited we actually found funding to make sure we had those giveaways for our families. So that's on your first couple slides. On the next page, it talks about we're going to have healthy snacks. So we're very grateful for Chef Knowles for free. He's going to provide healthy snacks for our families that attend the event, and also publicity, which is very important. The key word here is over communication. So we're going to have flyers, which are already up on our website for the Kindergarten Roundup. We have postcards that are going out via U.S. mail. We are also going to have our principals to pass out the flyers to their families, and also make sure we just spread the word. A robocall as well is going to take place. So we want to make sure we over-communicate to make sure our families know about the opportunity for Kindergarten Roundup 2023. We also want to make sure we have an alignment. So getting feedback. So again, in working in collaboration with our principals and RECC, one thing bubbled up, that there's not a clear alignment between our families that attend RECC and our elementary schools. It's like they're on their island by themselves. They come to RECC, have a great opportunity, and go everywhere else besides Romulus. And so we had them at the table and had a conversation. And so RECC is going to make sure they publicize our elementary schools. They're also having opportunities for our principals to come and speak to their families about their individual schools. So each school has their own date to actually go in front of the students and families and tell them about their own school. Also, the RECC leadership gave each of our principals a contact list. So our principals can also call each of the families and invite them to the Kindergarten Roundup. I know that beyond flyers and postcards, that individual call from a principal, sometimes it's more effective. So working collaboratively with RECC, I think we're going to bridge that gap that has been kind of a disconnection there. Lastly is recommendation. So again, I'm about feedback, listening, and solving problems and solving issues, especially they're continuous. So one thing we heard from the principals is that we never have money for Kindergarten Roundup. We have to go on our own budgets and figure it out. And so we want to make sure moving forward that's not an issue. And so in talking with Mark Graham from our grants team, he recommended moving forward that we put Kindergarten Roundup in our district improvement plan. It's about enrollment. It's about outreach. So we already have it in our plan. It's earmarked. And so there's no worry to try to find money or our principals to go in their own budget and use it for kindergarten roundup. So again, that's a solution to what's been an ongoing problem. But again, that's based on feedback and being collaborative with our school leaders to hear what's happened in the past so we can change what's moving forward. And that's our plan for kindergarten roundup. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Gardner.
You're
Any
welcome.
question?
I have a question, Madam President. How many of our current RECC students live in district boundaries?
So that attend RECC. So we have, that I sent out the mailing to, 115. Now, I will add that it included students who are also in Head Start. So these are the students who attend RECC that I received the mailing list for, that included our GSRP, that are ready to go to kindergarten, and also the ones who are in Head Start. Now, we'll clarify, that list included Romulus residents and also other city residents. So if you want to know just how many are in Romulus, I don't have the answer right now, but I can check it for you. I only have the total amount that I sent out the mailing to invite them to kindergarten roundup.
Okay, so to make sure I understand correctly, so our mailing is going to go out to RECC and Head Start through the city? I mean, we've got a couple target groups. We have our GSRP students, right, who are 4 and going to be kindergarten age next year.
Correct.
Okay, so we have that group, and then we also have just families who may have a kindergarten eligible student who aren't necessarily in our RECC program, who are also going to. So you're saying we're sending out mailers to, 150 homes, or?
I think what she was saying was that in terms of RECC over there, they're sending those out to them,
So
and there's a district-wide mailing going out with the postcards.
Correct.
Okay, so the RECC group, what is that number? That's what-
115.
Okay.
Yes.
And then district-wide, what is that mailer?
So we actually sent out to 3,000.
Okay.
Yes. And that was in addition to what was done prior. And so we did, again, making that collaboration. And it was usually separated. Like we sent out to these potential students and left out RECC. We brought them into the fold.
Okay,
To give us
thank
more
you.
opportunities to reach students and invite them to our event.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Gardner.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, report of board subcommittees. We're moving on to the report of the board president. Board members, you should have gotten an email this evening with the new board subcommittee groups. Any questions, you can give me a call. Looking at scheduling, I guess depending on what group, what committee we're in, I'm thinking once a month is the most, unless there's something pressing that we need to. Some may meet just quarterly, but we can sit down and work out that calendar there so we can get back on the right track of how we're really being fiduciary over our funds. I'm sorry, yep, I can read that for you. Thank you. Our policy committee will be Vice President McCarthy and Trustee Davis. Our facilities and building and operations committee would be Trustee Evans and Trustee Kennard. The finance and sinking fund committee would be, Trustee Laster and Kennard. Human resources would be Trustee Laster and Treasurer Davis. And our community outreach would be Evans and Piles. Me being president, I am ad hoc. I can go and attend any meeting and fill in for anyone who is absent, okay? FYI, we discussed the last meeting in regards to our governance training. Just another update, we were in contact with Dr. Colbert and Mrs. Yvonne Malcolm from MASB. So we are right now working on our dates so we can get started in April. Like I stated before, this would be ongoing. Seeing that we are part of a partnership, it will be part of the partnership plan where we will meet once a month to make sure that we're staying focused and having different topics that we're going to be working with, not just the governance. We're going to be doing board relationships, how to communicate effectively. So there's going to be a list of topics that we will be working on over the next 2 years to make this transition and to keep our district moving forward where we're all on the same page. Okay? From that, communications from board members. Treasurer Davis, do you have anything?
Yeah. So I've only been here for a month, and I feel excited about the direction this district is going now. I feel like now that we have a superintendent without the title of interim superintendent, we have some much-needed stability finally. I'd like to welcome back Dr. Edmondson. I mean, it's great to see you again. I can't remember if it was in one of our meetings or on Facebook, but I did remember you said something about, I would be something one day. And today, apparently, I'm one of your bosses. But
You guys is kid here. This is your child.
you know it's true. But I'm excited to see where this district is going moving forward. I hope that we as a board can finally get together and have one vision for this district. One thing I wanted to mention, I was unable to go to the senior pinning last Thursday, and that's because since I'm a music education student at Wayne State, I have the opportunity to help out for the honors ensembles. And Thursday night at 6 p.m., after a whole day of rehearsing and lectures and lunch, I saw a great performance by the Wayne State University Honors Bands, which includes 5 of our own band students. So, that's all I have to say tonight. What?
Thank you. Trustee Laster.
Well, I just want to, even though I wasn't a part of it, I want to apologize for how you were treated. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for setting the footprint of how we're going to go forward in your plan, and just thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Like Darcel said, we've only been here about a month. So I'm excited to, first of all, thank you for everybody that spoke. Like, I was getting goosebumps. I was ready to cry, but I didn't want my lash to fall off, even though we're not being streamed. But I will cry if a dog gets hit by a car. So I just, thank you for everybody just coming and being supportive, because it means a lot to look out in the crowd and not just see empty chairs. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I do want to speak on public comment. I know that when you look on our minutes on the website, and as I'm looking at them, I see that it says comments, audience participation. As I do serve on another board as a secretary, I know that you can't put full detail of, like, Miss Kylene wore a turquoise shirt. She stood up and said X, Y, and Z. But if we can, because people are taking the time out to come and speak and share how they feel, I think we should notate at least something of what was mentioned. It doesn't have to be detailed, but I would like to see some type of notation as a sign of respect, too, because I just feel like that should go in there. I'm just little me, but I'm just putting out my my comments. And then if we can see anything in regards to the attendance policy for board members, because, I mean, when I took on this position and ran, obviously I looked at the calendar. I do have a almost 8-month-old and a 16-year-old. I do get off at 4 p.m. It is a hustle to get here, but it's a commitment that I took. So it's a disrespect to the people that come here if we can't be here for. And I get sickness, I get you're tired, I get things of that sort, but I don't know going forward if it can be some type of accountability for just not coming. So that's another thing that I want to mention. And I know Ms. McCarthy is probably looking at me like, wrap it up. Sorry. And, okay. I also want to talk about. Oh, you got the timer for me? I know that at the last board meeting, we did make a decision in regards to removing said council. And just to touch on that, because there's been talks, if you can, honestly, I've said this before, I'm not a lawyer. I watch Law and Order. I watch How to Get Away with Murder, but I do know conflict of interest. And all it takes is Google and to put who was servicing us and some things in the past, and you put it together, and those are why some of those decisions were made. And I'll just leave it at that respectfully, so thank you.
Secretary
I'm sorry.
Tiles.
She's gonna give me a whooping, so can someone escort me out after? Thank you. Thank you,
Chair
President
Tiles.
Wester.
You're welcome.
Yes. Welcome back, Dr. Edmondson. And you and I have talked, and we will continue to talk. And I do believe that every single person, our team of 8, is committed to the students and to our district, and I am excited about that. And I like that you said our challenges are opportunities, and we have a lot of opportunities here at Romulus Community Schools. And welcome back. As I said, you have my full support. You may or may not believe that, but I will demonstrate that to you. This is a district that I love. This is a district that you are committed to, and as a team of 8, there are great things ahead for our students, for our staff, for our families. So we're looking forward to those together. I did want to bring up a date for board members, February 16th. Thursday, there is a Wayne County Association of School Boards meeting. General session at 6 p.m. will be held at RISA. That is open for all board members in all districts in the ISD. Also, congratulations to our wrestling team. Wrestling, I haven't, I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 matches ever. But I know that our guys have worked hard, and Dan Hines, just shout out to him. He has hustled and poured of himself into our students, and been there and done stuff in practice, at meets, and outside for our students. And so thank you, Dan, and thank you to so many of our coaches who do things that we will never know, but they impact our students' lives and change the trajectory of our students' lives. And so you are much appreciated. There was one more. Oh, board members, there's also training events that the county board is sponsoring, so they pay half. So those classes will only cost the district $50, and those are all reimbursable by the state too. So check your calendars for March 9th and March 16th. If you're available, those are opportunities, and we can take those together. And again, looking forward to great things happening here in the district.
Vice President McCarthy.
I promise I will not be as long as my other fellow board members, mainly Portia Lester. But I just wanted to say thank you to our community members, our stakeholders, our family, friends for coming out. I too like to see a full house. I appreciate the support. I am still your kid, and I will always be your kid. So the same age difference that it was when I first walked into Romulus Community Schools is still that same age difference. And just like I tell my mom and dad, I'm going to always need you. So I appreciate that. Superintendent Edmondson, thank you, and welcome back home.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you so much.
To my fellow board members, thank you. I truly appreciate you. Teamwork makes the dream work. So we are in this together, and I look forward to our continued partnership and collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to turn the mic over to Dr. Edmondson, and then I will close out board comments.
Yeah, I forgot a couple people, Sandy Mills and Jesse. I thank you so much. You know, the mask always throws me. It just does. So, you know, I saw you, I was like, oh, is that Jesse? But thank you so much. I know you were fighting big time, so I really appreciate that. To Ursula, you know, I was remiss because I forgot her. And you should never be ashamed to say that you love somebody and that they're good to you. So, you know, the 16 months, you know what you meant to me. You know what you meant to me. And I am so thankful. I always call you my sister, a little bit older, just a touch. I call you my sister, but you were down in the trenches with me, and I thank you for that too. So, and just a couple things. We heard laughs today. Do you all know that? Like in 16 months, when's the last time you heard some laughs? People are laughing here. I can feel the Spirit is in here. I feel the Spirit has lifted. The cloud that I mentioned today is going to go away. It only goes away with us, okay? The way that we treat one another. And everybody that pledged that they're going to help us move forward, then do it. And then maybe we can help other people move. 2 more things, or 3, Jesse, I told you, okay? And Darcel, see what Darcel didn't say is when he was the valedictorian, I had he and Brent in my office, and I told them how proud I was as an African-American male to see a valedictorian and a salutatorian that looked just like me. And I thanked them so much. And I knew he knows, I know. You know what students are going to go and be successful because they ooze of it, and you can feel it, okay? Of course, he needs us to still support him and tell him that he's doing great. It's unprecedented, first, for a superintendent to get fired and come back. That's 1. But 2, to have a 19-year-old, I'm assuming you're my son's age, 19? A 19-year-old on the Board of Education. So, young brother, you are doing it, man. You are absolutely doing it. So you keep that up. Jesse, you know what I owe you, and I told you I was going to do it. And he knows what I said, and I'm going to do it. Because when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Our band needs support, and you got it. And I will say publicly for the first time, we will be having a golf outing again. And this time, it's the music. It's the music. So the boosters have to help me so we don't, no nonsense. Last 2 things for Mike Hansen and Sarah, who are always on this. Dan and I are updating our job postings to make sure that everything is current, okay? I need the board to know I will absolutely pursue this, and I'll make sure it's legal, and I'll come to you if I can. But when you start incentivizing, and you start saying, if you get us, Mike Hansen, someone here, we'll give you $500. You need a plan. It's not just people are so happy to come to Romulus, but they come because of relationships. So if I can pay you like a stipend or a bonus, no, not stipend, I'm sorry. Carol, sorry. But you incentivize, okay? You incentivize so that people in our community, not just teachers, people in our community, if our vice president gets somebody and we hire them on her recommendation and they make it through, you compensate her, okay? And we compensate people in the community, okay? It's not going to happen by chance, okay? A referral bonus. It's not going to happen by chance. We have to get out there and we have to change the narrative and tell people this is a great place to work. So I'm going to work on that with Dan, and I talked about it. This Dan, not Dan Bales, Dan Scott. We talked about how to do that. So that's something that I will bring to the board. I'm going to bring something to you to say, why not? What we're doing isn't working. So let me make some, I'm going to try different things. And then the last thing, as we go into negotiations, I need you all to know we're not broke. We're not acting like we're broke because we're not broke. Broke is a mentality. We're not broke. We have money. We should make certain, and I'm not bargaining at the table, but you make sure that you make certain that your employees feel good in the level of compensation that you're giving them. We're not here to build some big war chest. That's not what we do. We're a nonprofit. If you understand nonprofit, you understand that. And the state gives you an idea of what your fund equity should be. But other than that, you compensate. Guess what? I love kids, but without teachers, what do I have? Nothing. You reward those people that have worked and have stayed through this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm not bargaining at the table now, but I can tell you, I am not an enemy. That's it. Now I'm done.
Thank you, Dr. Edmondson. And thank all my fellow board members for your comments. I did want to make one comment. I saved it to the end after listening to Ms. Bells with her presentation. You just kind of came out ahead of me. I had already started noticing some things when I became president and had to sign off. But it was, at that point to me, it was not a big, it wasn't the hurdle I needed to jump at that point. So I have been in contact. Right. But I have been working with legal to look at our policy and to go over and to make sure that we have our ducks in a row moving forward to make sure that what we are putting in for reimbursements is the proper things to be putting in for reimbursements. Yes, so that is in the works. So hopefully I will have an update or something moving forward at the next meeting. So that is something that is there because.
I just want to say, I think with that language where there's the comma of other things, I think there needs to be clarification by your legal firm of what exactly that entails.
Ms. Carroll, didn't you just hear me say I'm in contact with legal?
I heard you, but I didn't know if you knew that about that language, that's really.
I said you came out before me. I was already looking at it. We're on the same page. Like Ms. Laster, I'm not a lawyer. I watch Law and Order. I watch all those shows, you know. I don't watch How to Commit Murder, though, but How to Get Away with It. But I do. Like I say, I'm not an attorney, but I know reading things and seeing things come across that what is kosher and what's not. So we are working on those to move forward and get those finances right so that the monies go to where they're supposed to be, our students. So just wanted to do that. So motion to go into closed session.
Support.
Need someone to read the motion, please.
Got it.
I move that the Board of Education go into closed session under Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act, Collective Bargaining Strategy/REA. Rationale, in accordance with Michigan's Open Meetings Act enacted in 1976 as Public Act 267, all closed meetings must be called by a motion at a public meeting of the Board of Education, followed by a roll call vote. The Board of Education will convene in closed session under the above listed sections of the Open Meeting Act. Budget implications, TBD if any, exhibits confidential teacher pay cost options.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Davis, supported by Laster. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
Piles, yes. McCarthy,
Yes.
Wester.
Yes.
We are closed session at 7:30.
7:30.
My stuff, I just checked it, my stuff.
We're reconvening from closed session. It is 8:30. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Moved by Wester, supported by Davis.
All in favor?
Aye.
8:31. Good night. Thank you.